Have you ever made a choice, and later when you replayed it in your mind, you thought, why did I do that? That wasn't smart. That wasn't even what I wanted. It's almost like some invisible hand was nudging you. But here's the shocking truth. Your brain tricks you. And not once in a while, not occasionally. It happens every single day. It shapes what you buy, what you eat, who you date, even how you see yourself. And the craziest part, most of the time, you don't even notice. Today we're diving into 5 powerful psychological traps you fall into daily. Traps so sneaky they slip under your radar, but strong enough to change your life without you realizing it. Now here's the good news. Once you see these traps, really see them, your perspective changes forever. It's like finally noticing the strings on a puppet. Suddenly, you're not the one being controlled. You're the one holding the scissors. So lean in, because this journey might just reveal why you've been stuck, why you've been repeating patterns, and, most importantly, how to finally break free. Let's start with the first trap. Trap 1, the familiar equals safe trap. Picture this. You walk into a restaurant. You're starving. The menu is full of options. Some dishes you've eaten before, others totally new. Your eyes scan down. You pause. One side of your brain whispers, that pasta, you always love it. Can't go wrong. The other side nudges. But hey, that new spicy curry looks interesting. Why not try? And then, boom, you fold the menu and say, I'll take the pasta. Sound familiar? Of course it does. Because this tiny everyday choice reveals one of the most powerful traps of the human mind. The belief that familiar equals safe. Your brain is wired to crave safety. It's a survival instinct. Thousands of years ago, unfamiliar berries could be poisonous. Unfamiliar paths could lead to predators. So your ancestors survived by sticking to what they knew. Fast forward to today, and that ancient wiring is still in you. Except now, it's not about poisonous berries. It's about your career, your relationships, your habits, your dreams. Think about it. How many times have you kept going back to the same type of partner, even though it never worked out? How often do you keep repeating the same routine every day, even though deep down you feel stuck? How often do you say no to opportunities, not because they're bad, but because they're new? That's the trap. Familiar feels safe. New feels dangerous. But here's the twist. Familiar isn't always good, and new isn't always bad. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named James. For 15 years, he worked the same job at the same office. He didn't love it. He didn't even like it. But it was familiar. Every morning, same commute. Every week, same paycheck. Every day, same routine. Safe. One day he got an offer from another company. Better pay, more exciting work, more room for growth. But he turned it down. Why? Because the new office was across the city. The team was unfamiliar. The role was different. His brain screamed, stay where you are, it's safer. 5 more years passed. James was still in the same chair, staring at the same clock, wondering why he felt so unfulfilled. That's the power of this trap. It doesn't just make you choose pasta, it can lock you into an entire life you never wanted. And maybe you felt that too. Maybe you've clung to the familiar even when you knew it wasn't serving you. Maybe you've told yourself, better the devil I know than the devil I don't. But let me ask you, is it really safer to stay stuck? Or is it more dangerous to let your life pass you by unchanged? This trap also explains why people go back to toxic relationships. Think about it. A friend complains about their partner constantly. They break up. 2 weeks later, they're back together. And you're like, why? Because familiar chaos still feels safer than unknown peace. The brain clings to what it recognizes, even if it hurts. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. It means the more you're exposed to something, the more you like it, or at least tolerate it, even if it's not good for you. That's why companies play the same commercials over and over. That's why you find yourself humming a song you don't even like, because you've heard it 100 times. Your brain confuses seen often with safe. But here's the thing. Growth only happens in the unfamiliar. Confidence only grows when you step where you've never stepped. So how do you fight this trap? The next time you're about to make a choice, ask yourself one simple question. Am I picking this because it's truly right for me, or just because it feels familiar? Trap 2, the everyone else is doing it trap. Imagine this. You're scrolling through social media and suddenly, bam, every influencer, every ad, every person you follow is showing off the same product, a new gadget, a skincare item, a course. Even if you weren't interested before, you pause, you look closer, you start thinking, maybe I should try this too. That's not coincidence. That's your brain falling into the social proof trap. The belief that if everyone else likes something, it must be good. And let's be honest, it doesn't just happen with products. Think about fashion trends. 10 years ago, skinny jeans were the thing. Today, baggy jeans are back. You see enough people wearing them, and suddenly your old skinny jeans feel outdated, even though you didn't change. The crowd did. Or picture this. You're at a restaurant with friends. The waiter comes around, everyone orders the burger. When it's your turn, even if you were craving pasta, a little voice inside whispers, "Don't be the odd one out. Just get the burger too." So you say, "I'll have what they're having." This is one of the most powerful forces shaping human behavior. Why? Because deep in your brain lives a survival mechanism. Don't separate from the tribe. Thousands of years ago, being the odd one out meant danger. If the tribe went left and you went right, you might end up alone, exposed and vulnerable. So your brain developed a shortcut. Follow the group. If they're doing it, it must be safe. The problem? What was once a survival tool has become a mental trap. Because in the modern world, the crowd isn't always right. In fact, sometimes the crowd is dead wrong. History proves it. In the 1600s, everyone thought the Earth was the center of the universe. The crowd was wrong. In the 1800s, doctors didn't wash their hands between surgeries because no one else did. That mistake killed thousands. In the early 2000s, millions of people bought into financial bubbles thinking, everyone else is investing, how could it go wrong? And then it crashed. But here's the catch. Even knowing this, your brain still whispers, fit in, don't stand out. There's a famous experiment by psychologist Solomon Asch that proves it. He showed a group of people a picture of 3 lines, each of different lengths. Then he asked which line matched another sample line. The answer was obvious. But here's the twist. The group was full of actors told to give the wrong answer out loud. When it was the real participants' turn, guess what happened? Over a third of them agreed with the obviously wrong answer, just to match the group. Think about that. They denied what their own eyes saw, just to avoid standing out. And isn't that what happens to us every day? We laugh at jokes we don't actually find funny, just because everyone else is laughing. We buy things we don't need, just because everyone else seems to have them. We silence our opinions, because we don't want to be the one voice against the crowd. But here's the truth. Progress never comes from blind following. The greatest minds in history, the ones who changed the world, were the ones willing to break away from the crowd. Galileo, Martin Luther King Jr., Steve Jobs. They saw the crowd going one way and dared to go the other. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Am I doing this because it's right for me, or because I'm scared of standing alone? The moment you ask that, you start reclaiming your power. Because standing alone isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the birthplace of originality, authenticity, and truth. But even if you manage to resist the crowd, there's another trap waiting, one even more tempting. It doesn't whisper, fit in. It shouts, do it now. It feels good immediately. And this one, this is the trap most people live in without even knowing it. Trap 3, the instant reward trap. Picture this. You're sitting at your desk, determined to work. You open your laptop. You're ready. And then your phone buzzes. A notification, a dopamine hit. You think, I'll just check for a second. 30 minutes later, you're still scrolling. Or maybe you promised yourself, tonight I'll eat healthy. But then you see that box of cookies. Your brain screams, eat it now. You'll feel amazing. So you do. And for about 3 minutes, it's heaven. Then guilt sets in. Sound familiar? That's the instant reward trap. Your brain loves short-term pleasure. It's addicted to it. And the chemical behind it is called dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, the brain's feel-good signal. Every time you get a like on Instagram, eat sugar, win a game, or even check off a to-do list item, your brain releases dopamine, and it feels great. The problem? Dopamine doesn't care about your long-term goals. It only cares about right now. That's why we procrastinate. That's why we binge watch shows instead of studying. That's why we say, I'll start tomorrow. Because the brain is wired to chase the instant hit, even if it steals the future we want. Let me tell you about the famous marshmallow test. In the 1970s, psychologist Walter Mischel placed children in a room with a marshmallow. He told them, you can eat this marshmallow now, or if you wait 15 minutes without eating it, I'll give you 2 marshmallows. Then he left the room. Some kids ate it immediately. Others squirmed, distracted themselves, and managed to wait. Years later, researchers tracked these children into adulthood. The ones who resisted the marshmallow, who chose delayed gratification, were more successful in school, careers, even relationships. Why? Because they weren't slaves to instant rewards. They could see beyond the now. And yet, let's be honest, most of us are marshmallow eaters. We scroll instead of building. We snack instead of exercising. We spend instead of saving. And every time we trade long-term happiness for short-term comfort. But here's the inspiring part. You can rewire your brain. Every time you resist the trap, even in small ways, you strengthen your self-control like a muscle. Skip the cookie once. Delay checking your phone for 10 minutes. Do the hard task first before the easy one. Each time you do, you're teaching your brain, I'm in charge, not you. Think about it. Every act of resistance is a vote for your future self. When you say no to the cookie, you're saying yes to health. When you say no to scrolling, you're saying yes to focus. When you say no to instant pleasure, you're saying yes to long-term fulfillment. And that is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. Not by giant leaps, but by tiny choices, tiny victories against this trap. Trap 4, the I already invested. Trap, imagine this. You're watching a movie. It's terrible. The plot makes no sense. The acting is flat, but you've already sat through an hour. So you think, well, I might as well finish it. Otherwise, I've wasted my time. So you waste another hour. Or picture this. You're in a relationship. You've been together for years. It's not working. You fight constantly. You feel drained. But when someone asks why you don't leave, you say, I've already put too much into this. I can't just walk away now. Sound familiar? That's the sunk cost fallacy. It's the brain's tendency to keep investing in something just because you've already invested, even if it's no longer worth it. Here's the irony. By trying to avoid wasting what you've already spent, you end up wasting even more. Time, money, energy, years of your life. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Daniel. He started a small business, pouring all his savings into it. At first it struggled. Customers didn't come. Bills piled up. Friends suggested he cut his losses and move on. But Daniel said, I can't. I've already put too much in. If I quit now, it's all wasted. So he borrowed more money, worked longer hours, and for the next 5 years, he stayed trapped in a business that was never going to succeed because he couldn't accept the loss. If he had walked away earlier, he could have used his skills to start something new, something that worked. But his brain whispered, don't let go, not yet. This trap is everywhere. It keeps people in jobs they hate. It keeps students in majors they don't care about. It keeps investors throwing money into failing stocks. It keeps friends and couples holding on to relationships that have long since died. Psychologists explain it like this. Our brains hate loss. In fact, losing something feels about twice as painful as gaining the same thing feels good. This is called loss aversion. So instead of cutting our losses, we cling. We double down. We tell ourselves, if I just hang in a little longer, maybe it'll pay off. But here's the truth. The smartest people in the world aren't the ones who never lose. They're the ones who know when to walk away. Because walking away isn't failure, it's freedom. So how do you break free from this trap? Ask yourself one simple question. If I were starting fresh today, would I still choose this? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to let go. And that leads us to the final trap. Because even when you think you've outsmarted them all, even when you believe you're making clear, logical choices, your brain plays its most dangerous trick of all. Trap 5, the I'm in control trap. This one is sneaky, it's invisible, and it fools almost everyone. It's the belief that you're making rational, logical decisions, when in reality, your brain often decides first and explains later. Think about it. You buy something you don't need, then you say, well, it was on sale. It was a smart deal. You snap at someone, then you claim, I was just stressed. That's all. You choose one option over another, then you come up with a list of reasons after the fact. That's the illusion of control. The sense that you are steering the wheel when really your subconscious made the turn before you even realized it. Let me share an experiment that proves it. Psychologists once asked people to choose between two identical items, like two shirts that were the same in every way. After choosing, the participants were asked why they picked that one. And guess what? They came up with detailed reasons. The color looks richer, it feels softer, even though both items were identical. Their brain made a random choice and then invented a story to make it sound rational. Crazy, right? But this happens every day. Our brains are constantly influenced by hidden factors. Our mood, the weather, the way something is framed, even background music. Yet afterward, we tell ourselves, I chose this because I'm in control. Marketers know this. That's why supermarkets put candy by the checkout line. That's why salespeople make you imagine owning the product before you bought it. That's why casinos design their rooms with no clocks or windows. They're not asking your logical brain. They're talking to the subconscious, the real decision maker. So here's the question. If your brain is making decisions before you're even aware of them, are you truly in control? The answer is yes, but only if you learn to pause. Only if you become aware of the forces steering you. Only if you ask, why am I really choosing this? Awareness is the ultimate superpower, because once you shine a light on the invisible, it loses its grip. So let's step back. Every day without knowing it, you fall into these 5 traps. You cling to the familiar, thinking it's safe. You follow the crowd even when it's blind. You chase instant rewards, even when they steal your future. You keep investing in what's broken, just because you already started. And you believe you're in control when sometimes you're not. But here's the truth. You are not broken. Your brain is not your enemy. These traps are simply the echoes of ancient wiring. Patterns meant to protect you, but in today's world, they often hold you back. And the moment you see the trap, you have a choice. The choice to step away from the familiar and into growth. The choice to walk your own path, even when the crowd turns the other way. The choice to resist the instant hit and build for tomorrow. The choice to let go of what no longer serves you, and the choice to pause, reflect, and truly take back control. Because you are not your brain's puppet. You are the one holding the scissors. And every time you cut one of those strings, you take a step closer to the life you were meant to live. So the next time you feel that pull, the comfort of the familiar, the weight of the crowd, the lure of the quick hit, the guilt of walking away, or the illusion of control, pause, breathe, smile, and remember, the power isn't in the trap. The power is in your awareness. If this opened your eyes, if you felt yourself in these stories, then don't let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button, because this channel is all about understanding the mind, breaking free from its hidden traps, and becoming the sharpest, strongest version of yourself. And tell me in the comments, which trap do you fall for the most? Your answer might just help someone else realize they're not alone. Because the truth is, we all fall for these traps. But the difference between staying stuck and breaking free is awareness. And today, you've already taken the first step.